Shaban, what's the link between the Red Cross and climate change in Uganda?
The Red Cross, of course, has a mandate of mobilizing the communities to focus on their destiny. And the fact is that we have to look at the entire disaster management cycle, both before a disaster happens, during disasters, and after a disaster event. So in Uganda, communities continuously face risks to do with flooding, risks to do with landslides, and I've been telling people in the plenary that actually the concept of landslide that has been there, now the communities are starting to think that it's now like a mountain movement because of what is happening right now. We no longer have the small landslides that come, but a huge landslide that covers a village, 300 people buried under there. So the Uganda Red Cross feels that we can still work with the local communities through promotion of low-level community initiatives to make sure that they are more resilient and they can cope with the occurrences.
And what is happening in Uganda? Can you give me some examples of some particular? Have there been any disasters or incidents linked to extreme weather that you would pinpoint?
Yeah, just to say that a lot of happenings, like I've said, a lot of occurrences have happened. For instance, in 2007, we had a very big flood event. In 2010, we had a very heavy landslide that covered over 300 people were buried alive. And the Uganda Red Cross has been working with communities, first of all, to make comprehensive risk assessments, to know what are the hazards that are prevailing in the high-risk communities, but also some kind of risk mapping to know what are the areas at risk of what hazard. And then we also engage communities in doing vulnerability assessments to know what kind of vulnerability, what's the condition that is predisposing them to these to suffer loss from these hazards, or suffer to lose life. And then we also look at the prevailing local capacities of these communities, and then based on those to come up with mitigation actions or adaptation actions. I will just give a few examples of what we are doing. For instance, in the eastern part of Uganda, we have been promoting what we call the flood-resistant shelter, because the housing infrastructure puts our local communities at risk to even just simple waterlogging because of the way they have constructed their huts. So we have worked together with the communities to develop a small model, a flood-resistant hut model, which basically has a dam-proof course underneath to make the structures stronger and also to withstand effects of waterlogging. Some other low-level community actions that we believe can pose a solution include, for instance, the use of energy saving stoves. Many of our communities are used to the 3-stone stove, which also consumes a lot of firewood. And that means that they will end up cutting down a lot of trees to make sure that they get fuel wood to take care of their household needs. But through the use of the fuel efficient stoves, we try to promote them, and then there are local materials that are being used. So everything is available in the community, and it's very easy. It's just a matter of training them, and then it will use less time for cooking, and that means that the remaining time they can use it for other sources of livelihood. They can go to do farming or do other things. But also, most importantly, is to restore our ecosystem, to make sure that they use less fuel wood when they are cooking. And of course, there are other small-scale, low-level initiatives that we feel we should focus on to make sure that communities are more resilient.